It is time for the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. Thanks for making us a part of your day. On the show, we will be discussing potential trade candidates for the Ravens. Who are some guys they could be moving on from this offseason, whether it's to save salary cap space, calories too, or whether it's to acquire some draft capital. What are some guys that could be on the chopping block? We'll discuss all of that and more coming up in just a few moments from right now. Before we do, somebody's got to go. Here's your chance to be critical. Before I reveal my list, give me your list. Name a player the Ravens should trade. Who should they move on from? Let me know in the comments section below. Now, I have 5 players that we're looking at of guys that the Ravens could move on. And for the most part, it's salary-based. Others, it has to do with kind of over need, trying to move on from and get something out of. So just keep that in mind as we go through the criteria of sorts for these names that we look at today. Let's start with Chuck Clark. This feels like the obvious one. And it's been a long time coming that we've talked about Chuck Clark and his name coming up as a trade candidate that the Ravens could move on from. Chuck Clark, remember, this is a guy that has already been replaced. You have Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, Geno Stone there. They are overloaded at the safety position. Chuck Clark's a fine football player, but there's just not space on this roster for him. Sure, he had a solid year last year. 101 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. This is nothing against Chuck Clark, but you spent such a high pick on Kyle Hamilton. He's got to be your guy. He's got to be the one you roll with at that safety spot. And so this is a situation where you find yourself saying that, hey, you got to trade Chuck Clark now to get something out of him while you can, while there's still value there. The safety position is really good for Baltimore. I think it's the best safety room in the NFL. Nothing against Chuck Clark, but there's just not room for Chuck Clark. I think the Ravens are going to trade him and move on, try to get what they can for him there. What say you? Will the Ravens trade Chuck Clark? Will he survive another offseason? Everybody thought he was getting traded last offseason, and he still ended up back in Baltimore. What do you think is going to happen? Will the Ravens trade Chuck Clark? Let me know in the comment section. Y for yes, in for no. Number 2 on our list is Justin Madubuike, the edge rusher for the Baltimore Ravens. And you look at Justin this past season, he had some career highs. Granted, 5.5 sacks, 9 QB hits, 8 tackles for loss, 42 tackles. That was good, but it was still underwhelming. And I think the Ravens are looking for more when it comes to the edge rushers. Granted, beyond Justin, a lot of their other guys are older. And so I think you could be moving on from him with the hopes of drafting younger at the position or trying to find a better veteran of some sorts. To me, it's just been kind of underwhelming what you've seen from Justin. This is one that makes sense potentially to move on from, unless you believe that he still has another step he could take up. Personally, though, I think that he's probably reached his ceiling. Another guy that has probably reached his ceiling, that's been underwhelming, is Devin Duvernay. And we know that Devin Duvernay can play in the special teams game and that he can be a good return man. But think about this. This Baltimore Ravens team, they were down bad at the receiver position this year with Rashad Bateman going down and trying to find any help they could. And Devin Duvernay really couldn't answer the call. He had his own injuries too this year. And leading the way, what he put together was just a 400-yard season, 3 touchdowns. I mean, Devin Duvernay could have had an awesome year this year and just did not get the job done. And you look at the statistics for his entire career, 90 catches, 880 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I mean, the numbers that he's had for his entire career, that should have been one season of numbers. It's taken him that long to get to this point. Devin Duvernay, granted, when you're Baltimore, you need any help you can get. But you can do better. You deserve better than Devin Duvernay, quite frankly. I think he's been disappointing. Might be time to move on, see what you can get out of him. Maybe somebody would like him as a return specialist of some sorts. Should Baltimore trade Devin Duvernay, or should they give him one more shot to see if he's worth sticking around? Let us know in the comments section. If you think they should trade him, type T for trade. If not, type P for pass. Let us know in the comment section below. T for trade, P for pass on Devin Duvernay. Folks, you got to subscribe to the channel. We are closing in on 9,000 subscribers. This thing is just rapidly growing here on the channel. It has been so fun to talk about the Baltimore Ravens all the time. We're covering this team like no one else is with daily news and rumors. We also are counting down to the draft, trades, free agency, and more. It's all in one place. If you love the Baltimore Ravens, you want more Ravens content, we're even doing live shows now, then what are you waiting for? Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Next on our list is Gus Edwards. Now, I know what you're thinking. Gus, it was incredible that he was able to get back on the football field this year and have a breakthrough season. Especially there in the latter half of the year, for him to make it all the way back, the recovery that he made there. But you look at Gus Edwards, and you have to think, at this point, was that it from Gus Edwards? Is now the chance to trade him while he's at his ceiling before he has the drop-off, before things go down? Is now the chance to trade him and try to get value out of him, try to get something and replace him with another running back, somebody that's younger? Look, J.K. Dobbins was outstanding this past season, in particular, in the last half of the year when we saw him get a lot better. And he clearly established himself as the number one running back. It was kind of split before between Dobbins and Gus. This is JK's team now. Gus Edwards, I think it's a great story. I like Gus. We're all rooting for Gus, but it might be time to move on from Gus Edwards there. Last on the list, and this one might draw some controversy, but Malik Harrison at the linebacker position could be another name to watch potentially. 3 seasons for Malik Harrison. 100 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, no sacks, 1 pass breakup. Malik Harrison just hasn't done what he needs to. And they should have seen more from Malik Harrison as far as that goes. Malik Harrison is somebody that I don't know what the necessarily trade value is, what you can get out there from Malik Harrison, but you might want to see what you can get for him at this point in time and try to upgrade that position. I think you can do better than Malik Harrison. So we'll go back over the list one more time here in a second, but I want to hear from you guys. Who's a player the Ravens should trade for? We've talked about all these players that they should consider trading on and trying to find some draft capital for, but who are some guys that they should trade for, that they should look at? It's going to be a very interesting trade market. We've talked about some of the players that are out there previously here on this show, the Mike Evans, the Chris Godwins, the DeAndre Hopkins of the world. Who comes to mind that you'd like to see the Ravens make a move and add to this roster in 2023? Let me know in the comment section below. So to recap, the trade candidates, Chuck Clark, that was the obvious one. Justin Madubuike, that's another one that I don't think was one that was too surprising. Devin Duvernay, a little underwhelming. Gus Edwards, I know we all like Gus. Gus is a very good football player, but is that kind of it for Gus? And with the injuries, is it time to move on and find another running back? And then Malik Harrison potentially as well. Those are the guys I've zeroed in on as potential trade candidates. We'll see. The Ravens don't have a ton of cap space. They need to save every dollar they can. Remember, you still got to pay Lamar Jackson and then all the rookies you're bringing in as well this draft. So we'll see what the Ravens do. You can interact with me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Baltimore Ravens there. And I'll see you next time right here on the Ravens Rundown.